back to my channel. In today's video we're going to be making lumanda. I don't know if you guys know what lumanda is in English, but I'm sure some of you know it. It's African hibiscus. So the first step that you're going to have to do is first dondola the lumanda. You know what I mean? Remove the leaves, because those are the ones we're going to cook. You don't want to have the stems in your lumanda, so you want to remove all of that. Once you are done, you're gonna go ahead and look for the bigger leaves. If you've got big leaves that are also a bit on the hard side, you kind of break them up in small pieces. That's because when we add the soda, we want the lumanda to be able to break into teeny bit pieces, and that is not going to happen easily if you just leave my big leaves there. So you want to make sure you cut them pangono and all that. Once you do that, you go ahead and wash your lumanda really well. I would advise to do this under running tap water, so you get rid of any sand, stones, whatever is in there. You clean it up real good. So the way I'll be making the lumanda in this video is gonna be in a very traditional way. Of course, you can always take your groundnuts where they do for you the nshaba, or just buy at the market the one that's already done. But I just decided to have my mortar and pestle in this video, ekavende, as it is called in Nyanja. As you guys can see, I put my nshaba, then I'm using my pestle to kind of kutwa, pounding the groundnuts. And then once I can see that I have some powder in the groundnuts, I'm gonna go ahead and get my sieve and put everything there and sieve to get the fine groundnuts, the pounded groundnuts. Those are the ones that we're gonna be using for cooking the lumanda. This is not a very easy job, like using the pestle and mortar. It takes skill, of course. I've done this a couple of times. It's not my first time. So if it's your first time using a pestle and the mortar, you're gonna be good. I was done sieving, my nshaba looked like this. I got about 2 cups of the pounded groundnuts and put it back in the mortar. Then I'm also gonna get my pestle and pound that again, because I want it to be very creamy once I put in the lumanda. Because one of the things that you don't want when you're cooking lumanda is the lumanda itself to be looking this side, then nshaba is also looking this side. You want everything to combine really well. So for you to have that consistency, you want to get the pounded groundnuts and put them back in the mortar and get your pestle and pound for quite some time. And I'm going to show you guys how it should look. And then that's when you'll be able to get the results that you want once you make your lumanda. So this is how the end product looked like. It should look like that. And now you're gonna turn on your stove. You want to be cooking at about medium to high heat. I just put a cup of water. I let it warm up a little bit. Then I put about half a teaspoon of soda. The soda kind of gives our lumanda a tangy taste. Not really sour, but maybe a little bit on the tangier side. And then I'm also going to put about half a teaspoon of salt. I wouldn't advise putting a lot of salt to start with. You can always adjust like how much salt you want in your lumanda at the end, because you're also going to put the groundnuts, so you don't want to add a lot of salt when you're starting. So now I'm just going to make sure everything has dissolved in the water. Then I'm going to go ahead and add the lumanda. And once I do that, I'm also going to add my diced tomatoes. Make sure you're using very ripe tomatoes, because if you use tomatoes that are not really ripe, it's not going to be looking good in your lumanda. So use tomatoes that are very ripe. And I normally don't add onions to my lumanda because I'm so used to the taste where it doesn't have onions. But if you want to add onions, you can add a small onion. Make sure you dice it really, really well, and it should be very small. And once I add everything to the pot, I'm going to let this cook until the lumanda itself has broken down into tiny bit of pieces that I actually spoke of earlier. I would advise you not to cover the pot, because if you do, everything is just going to overflow on the stove and it's going to make a mess. So after everything has cooked, your lumanda should look like this, where it's broken down into small pieces. As you can see, you don't see those mafu leaves anymore. And if you're not getting that because your lumanda was too hard, just add some more water, like maybe one cup of water, or it could be half a cup, until it breaks down into small pieces. And now we're ready to add the groundnuts. So one of the things when you're making lumanda is when you just add groundnuts to hot lumanda, the groundnuts forms like stubborn balls that are very hard to like break with the cooking stick. So what I usually do is just add some cold water first. Like it could be just half a cup of cold water. Then I add the nshaba. Then I get the other water, the other half, I put pamwamba. That way it doesn't form those stubborn balls. And you're going to see that once I start mixing, I have my little balls that have formed, but they're very easy to break because of the cold water. I just like fienta them on the side of the pot. And you can see that it just combined really well. So once you're done mixing your lumanda and all the tumabos to a choker, just go ahead and let it cook for some time. That way you don't have that smell from the groundnuts. And that's when you know your lumanda is ready to serve. You can serve it with nshima immediately, or you could wait the next day if you want extra flavor in your lumanda. That usually happens when you let it sit and then you eat it the next day. It's very delicious. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like this video, leave me comments, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel to see more videos.